Hello my friends, Bogdan is here for you, and today I'm going to discuss with you something that I have just devised recently. This is my Substack channel and professional content that I'm going to publish there. So most of the time I am publishing some free stuff, but there's a whole lot of people who are really industry professionals and who want more in-depth insights of the business and the whole industry, and most importantly, what is the future of it and where it is headed. So I was thinking, where do I try to fit in this content? Maybe it's not just made for my website mycasineindex.com, and this is how I actually realized I need to create a paid subscription list on Substack. So I invite you all to come join it. It is priced $8 per month, and I will be publishing some really interesting information on the state of casino market. And right now I'm starting this subscription list with a series of publication or a book that's called this. I think I'm not sure about the exact name, but I was thinking to call it a state of warfare beyond bonds. So this is a kind of total warfare within the industry, a discussion of different scenarios for iGaming industry and how to employ the art of system thinking to find your place within the industry. So this is a kind of idea for a book or a big series of articles made mostly for professionals in the industry, and the articles like this would probably start up with my general understanding of the three core scenarios that I think I maybe would suggest that would happen on the industry. First scenario, this is actually the first article, so I'm talking about my debut in the Substack and how I would open up this series. So the first article is called how do I call it? Liber regulation. How non-coexisting clauses and a bad strategy on the part of national regulators would shape the industry of tomorrow. So liber regulation is two words in one: liberalization and regulation, or over-regulation, as you wish. So this is the first scenario that's very likely to come up on the industry. It actually is being realized these days. And in my first article is roughly about 2,000 words about different implications of this scenario. So it tells about what would happen if most of the governments would follow the road of liberalization of the market in the first place, and then trying to screw it up by imposing constraints, by stiffening regulation, by imposing fines, by banning the advertisement, and all the things down the road that you are probably witnessing these days in United Kingdom and so and so. But my plan for this scenario goes further deeper into other projectives on what may happen. So it's not just a description of what happens now, it goes further into the future, and this scenario plays in the negative light. The second scenario that I will be discussing within this Substack series is laissez-faire. So it means if the governments on the globe would go and let it be. So let regulated market coexist with unregulated. It means that on the paper they would, impose regulation, but would not actually fight the operators and so on, who exist like in parallel. So it's also a likely scenario. It is being developed in some part of the world. And finally, the third scenario, it is called, prohibition, or what would happen if all the countries, or most of the most tasty market would go and stop the liberalization, which on the way right now, and try to to prohibit the gambling, like France, like China, and many other countries. So what would happen under this scenario in the world? So these three scenarios would be very precisely explained and discussed on the part of casino operators, game providers, on the part of affiliate sites, platforms, the whole industry, including affiliation, startups, venture capitals, as well as the labor force implication and license implication. So what happened under each of this scenario in every of this particular domain. So once I put on the table these three scenarios, I also put a profound discussion on the particular combination of this scenario, of these pure scenarios that might happen, and what can be consensus in terms of the results of the combination of these scenarios. Further on, this series of Substack articles will include some as a chapter, as a chapter 2, or as a continuation of this discussion. I'm thinking about putting in play, or put into discussion, the disruptive trends and game changes. So we have three core scenarios. We have a myriad of different combinations between them. We have it on table, discussed and clear. But after that, we go into game changers. So what will happen if the whole landscape changes? So among the game changers I have put on the list such things as, first, a rise of no license pure crypto casinos and crypto game providers, including these instant win games, probably fair games, and so on and so on. This secondly is a discussion of the shocks, a kind of economic shocks, people and infrastructure shocks, what they can bring on the industry. And finally, last but not the least, this is a stupid actions on the part of the regulators or the business players, which can really thwart all the plans like any club. So as a chapter 3 further on, I will discuss how can the situation turn out in another way. So how can it be the opposite? So how can we I think about the art of unknown, how to employ particular way of partnership and cooperation in a way that can shape the unknown. And final fourth article of this series will be about essential principles of doing the business wars in this particular sphere in gambling, but not only, and how to fight and how to cooperate. So this is my general plan for the first several months of my Substack accounts, and a kind of introduction to what I'm going to do here. So I invite you to subscribe as an introduction. I maybe give a couple of words of what's already there. So the first part, or liberal regulation, is out. So I put about, as I was saying, about 2,000 words about what to expect, what is the summary of the situation, what are the problems the prejudice cooperation on the part of the marketplace, how the authorities are being the shaping power of this labor regulation, and what is the outcome of the authorities' effects on different players of the industry. What is interesting here in the first part is that my general comment or summary is that actually the industry under this labor regulation scenario, which is probably dominant in current time, is that the whole industry is going to follow the same industry path, like tobacco, alcohol, and so on and so on. So the drill. The sin industries all the same, have the same curve. So the authorities would go and try to strike a balance between the interests of the society, which is how to decrease the potential harmful effects of gambling, and the interest of the enterprises. But the whole idea is going to minimize the gambling activity at all, try to impose higher taxation in order to let only those who can afford it play those who can afford it. The higher taxation incumbents will be put to responsible gaming initiatives to try to protect those who cannot afford, but those who will rest, the most responsible or wealthy people, they will be left in peace like now. So as a price of a cigarettes go up like very deeply, very highly over the last 10 years, so in the same fashion the whole industry of gambling will be developing in this labor regulation scenario. Well, so I invite you to join my Substack. I invite you to so interestingly, the first week of reading is free, so you can enjoy, try to understand whether or not you might be interested in it, and then the subscription fee is like $8 per month, so you can really join here and importantly start a discussion under my post, try to develop topics further, right or left, it promises to be interesting. Thank you for watching. I will be leaving a link to my Substack here beneath this video. Thanks. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm here for you on the email you can find on the website, or just put your comment to this video. Thank you. Bye.